Alright, so we're back and we're doing Tama. Don't let it get you down, sir, I say, hoping to comfort him. But Mr. Yanagashita just lets out a sob-choked sigh. Can you imagine if someone was like, oh my god, are they actually going to tell me what a sigh is? And then they just didn't click that, and then they never got to make the jump to Minori Kala there. I don't know. I have a feeling that that's a mistake that some people might make. I try again. It'll be okay, whether or not it helps you lose weight. It is spicy, and it does make you sweat. I'm not sure I follow, Chidi says. How much are you selling these bottles for, boss? 15,000 yen per bottle. So, he's actually taking a huge loss on that. Because he got them for 30 each, and he's selling them for 15. Wait, 15,000, $150 per bottle. Yeah, no, that's it. Never mind, he's not taking a loss on that at all. Selling all 3 bottles would yield proceeds of 4.5 million yen, after deducting expenses such as the cost of the product, rental fee for the venue, pay for the part-timers, and printing flyers. This yields a net profit of roughly 2.5 million yen. It's doubtful that anyone would pay 15,000 yen for a single small bottle, but you never know. There could be a few housewives or young women out there who'd fork out that much in the name of weight loss. A terrifying thought. What? Chidi's jaw practically hits the floor. Mine does the same. No way. Nuh-uh. No freaking way. Calling that price point absurd wouldn't begin to do it justice. Well, look. Selling it at that price is my only option. I need to cover my costs. Anyway, please, I need you both to work your hardest. Apparently, he's committed to this insane course of action. Okay, Chidi replies. It's more like a sigh than a proper response, but I can't blame her. As for me, I can't... let's go with that. Let's see what happens if we call them out on it. I can't just sit there and not speak up. Isn't this just a scam, sir? Sorry, can't hear you. Yanagashita plays dumb. Fine, I repeat myself. This is a scam, isn't it? He tilts his head to one side. Something's wrong with my ear. Undeterred, I repeat myself once more. This is a scam, isn't it? Tears are welling up in Mr. Yanagashita's eyes. Look, kid, he says huskily. Listen up. He's clearly struggling to maintain his calm. You're in the grown-ups world now. I nod a few times. But a scam's still a scam, right? I say. You, sir. What's your name again? Oh, it's Tama. Okay, Tama, why are you still wearing your costume? What? Straight up dodged my question. Oh well, at least I tried. I explained the situation with my suit. Wow. So then, are you gonna do the sales demo like that? Well, if I can't take the mascot costume off, I don't have much of a choice, do I? Can't we just get his permission to cut it open? Jeez, it's not like he's ever gonna use it again. No, that won't do at all. I hired you to be a model. If you're wearing that thing, then what's the point? I'm at a loss for words. The point is exactly what he's missing. It's not like I'm wearing this getup because I want to. How about we just cut it off you, Chidi says with a big grin. I mean, putting aside how scary she looks with that, it's still something that I think is a good idea. She pulls a massive pair of scissors out of her bag. The blades make an unsettling snip-snip sound as she waggles them in my face. Whoa, no, you can't do that! Yanagashita exclaims. That suit's a rental. God damn it. I don't want to have to reimburse them for the thing. Well then, what am I supposed to do? I ask. He looks at me uncertainly. Maybe you could have someone from the rental place come down, she suggests, before helping herself to the rest of my lunch. Oh hey, good idea, Yanagashita says. He seemed to be making an effort to calm himself down, at least. Just try to grin and bear it until then, Tama. Well, I guess that's that then. I'm sure we'll get it off eventually, I say. Hopefully before the demo. That's the spirit. I really need you to be my model. A model, huh? It's flattering, but I can't help but wonder, would I be any good at that? Well, if she's actually the person in the front of the game's cover, then probably, yeah. She's a pretty attractive person, so yeah. Well, this is no time to be timid. I need that money no matter what. My troubles all started earlier this morning. Oh, so actually we're going to get some backstory here. I was at a knick-knack shop on Center Guy. I happened to pass by and I spotted a red necklace on display at the storefront. I got this weird sensation when I saw it. You could maybe call it déjà vu, something like that. It was as if I'd been drawn to it somehow. This was mine. I was sure of it. I wanted it. No, I needed to make it mine. As soon as I possibly could. That's how strong the feeling was. The price was 40,000 yen. I checked my wallet repeatedly, but I only had 20,000 on me. Nonetheless, I needed to have it. There was just one question. How? Somehow I managed to drag myself away from the shop. Just a few minutes later, I ran into Mr. Yanagashita. Hey, a voice said out of nowhere. If you want, I can pay you 10,000 yen, or 10,000 for a day's work. I found myself staring at this frumpy middle-aged man who was handing me his business card. Managing Director Junichi Yanagashita, Yamato Health Foods Company, Limited. I'm in a real bind here. Need some extra help. Would you mind coming with me? I'm begging you, just one day. He seemed pretty sketchy. As much as I needed money for that necklace, I wasn't going anywhere with some random weirdo. I ignored him and tried to just walk off. Please, please. Yanagashita grabbed me by the hand. Watch it, pal, I snapped. Hands off or I start shouting for help. Please, it's not like that. Just hear me out. Look, I'm in a hurry. Please. Please. Knock it off. I spun forcefully away from him, yanking my hand from his grip. Oof. That does actually kind of look like her, so I think I was right that that's actually her on the cover. Yanagashita whirled through the air and fell into the bushes. Whoa, where'd that come from? He gasped. His eyes were wide as saucers. You a martial artist or something? No, I think that was just a fluke. The truth was, I was surprised. I was surprised myself at how well I'd pulled off that escape move. Okay then. Look, I'm sorry, can you give me a hand? No way. No, I mean, give me your hand. My hip's killing me here. I guess. The least I could do was help the guy get back to his feet. Look, why are you hounding me so much? Please, don't be angry. The moment I saw you, I just felt it. You're the only person who could possibly do this job for me. I let out a sigh, but my interest was admittedly piqued. What kind of job? I need a sales rep for a health supplement. I want you to do PR as a dieting success story for my product. Oh my god. Just look at you. You have the body of an actress. Sales are going to go through the roof. Well, it was hard to feel too offended when he told me that. The job didn't seem as fishy as I'd initially suspected. Alright, maybe I'm interested, I said. It's just one thing. Yeah, whatever it is, I'm sure I can handle it. I need 20,000 yen as soon as possible. So if the day only pays 10,000... Alright then. If you can sell 100 bottles at our sales event, I'll throw in another 10,000 as a bonus. How's that sound? Certainly couldn't think of any other way I was going to earn 20,000 yen in a single day. This might be exactly the break I needed. You got a deal. You have my services for the day, I said, bowing my head. Yes. Yanagashita jumped for joy. What about your hip? Huh? Oh, yeah, it's better now. All better. Fixed itself just now. Yanagashita bowed deeply as I gave him a dubious look. Look, I'm sorry, he added hurriedly. I wasn't trying to pull a fast one on you. Honest. I was just scouting for talent and I saw you and, well... Was trusting this guy really the best idea? I was starting to worry just a little about whether he'd actually pay up. Look, I've staked everything on the sales demo later today, he went on. This is the make-or-break opportunity of a lifetime. Sure. Well, he's not really exaggerating there. I'll be honest with you, I'm in a ton of debt. 2 million yen. 2 million. Yanagashita's tone had taken on a feverish intensity. If I don't pay it back by the end of the day, then boy howdy, am I going to end up the creek without a paddle. How did you even get into a situation like that? I asked. He gazed skyward, a far-off look in his eyes. Because even if he knows he has no chance of winning, sometimes a man just has to stand and fight. But I guess a girl like you wouldn't understand. He laughed and smiled at his own words, but he was right. I sure as heck didn't understand in the slightest. Anyway, real quick, could you put this on? Mr. Yanagashita briskly rummaged through his bindle, then thrust a cat costume out toward me. He just had that on him. What? Here? Yeah, before the sales event, you gotta hand out some samples. The burning hammer in the samples bottle is cut 10 parts to 1 with water. Even so, it is intensely spicy, and drinking it on an empty stomach is sure to cause gastrointestinal distress, or even make the drinker black out. Just like we saw with Kano. It's hard to believe that a sampler of something so dangerous would win over any customers, but you never know. There could be housewives or young women out there who'd accept such a risk in the name of weight loss. Another terrifying thought. The job's already started, you know? And with that, Mr. Yanagashita went about getting me into the mascot suit. Looking back on it, it was a pretty ridiculous turn of events. Still, if I was going to get my hands on that necklace, I had to take the chance that this job would pay out. I doubt we're going to be able to sell a single bottle of this crap, Cheery whispers in my ear. I'll just have to do the best I can, I say. I say it more to myself than to anyone else. Once again I ask myself, why am I in such a rush to get this necklace anyway? I honestly don't know. It's the strangest thing. I try my hardest to think of a reason, but all I get is a dull, aching throb at the back of my head. It's the same pain I felt earlier, as if I've gotten a good bonk on the head or something. Oh, so she's got to be continued here too now. Okay. So now everybody has it to be continued. Except for Osawa. So I guess we've got to go forward with Osawa. Well then, let's do it. Alright. Alright, so, his development of the antiviral agent had been really nothing more than another job responsibility. He felt no particular sense of duty to protect people from a killer virus. He was just happy for the chance to play around with UA day after day. Another email arrived in his inbox. The sender, A. The subject line, 1 year ago, South Africa, again. Osawa read the message. Do not look away. These are your crimes. This time there were 4 images attached. Osawa proceeded to open each of them in turn. The first shocked Osawa so much that he felt like he'd been punched in the head. One of the UA patients from the earlier images was being injected with something. No. Osawa muttered to himself. Can't be. So they actually are injecting, proceeding with clinical trials without his approval. The second image showed one of the infected, hunched over in pain, vomiting up blood. I almost wonder if, instead of doing the the animal test on gorillas. They just, like, hoisted it off on some backwater country and tried to pass that off as, like, as a proper animal test, when actually it was just tested on humans, so so they could, like, skimp out, I guess. I don't know. The second image showed one of the infected hunched over in pain, vomiting up blood. The symptoms had already manifested, but Osawa thought he could see some degree of life had come back into the patient's eyes. He rushed to open the third image. It showed a morgue piled high with corpses. The rictus of anguish on the dead faces made them look no longer human. Various fluids seeped from the eyes and nostrils. The lymph nodes were grotesquely swollen. Small organs that function as part of the lymphatic system in mammals. When a foreign substance invades the body, the lymph nodes detect it, prompting the production of white blood cells such as lymphocytes and macrophages to consume the invader. A viral infection sometimes causes the lymph nodes to swell up as a result of increased activity. There were hospital beds stained with massive amounts of blood and gastric fluids. Next came the fourth and final image. More corpses. They had badges affixed to their chests, with various labels. 6 hours passed, 12 hours passed, and 18 hours passed. It looked as if someone had been attempting live trials with the antiviral agent. So he clearly has nothing to do with this, but whoever is responsible for these emails doesn't know that. Osawa didn't consider the antiviral agent ready for release, but that was because his team hadn't conducted clinical trials on humans yet. And there was a good reason why such trials hadn't been conducted. There was no way to test the efficacy of the drug without an infected patient. To run a proper clinical test, someone would first need to be infected with the UA virus. No matter how effective animal testing had been, if the drug proved ineffective on humans, that person would have a guaranteed death sentence. It was unthinkable to run trials that involved such a deadly risk. And yet, as he looked over the images again and again, Osawa became certain. Without his knowledge, someone, presumably someone from Okoshi Pharmaceutical, had conducted human testing with the antiviral agent. So, major suspects right off the bat would be either his second-in-command director or whatever, the guy, I forget his name, or, his wife, or someone close to his wife, like the person who is responsible. I forget what their connection was, like her father or something is like on their board of directors or something. I don't know. So, the time markers on the corpses in the fourth image were surely there to mark the time elapsed since the onset of symptoms. A thorough trial would test the drug's effectiveness in those time frames. Osawa slammed his fist on the desk and raged. This was nothing short of vile human experimentation in the guise of clinical testing. The people responsible could not be allowed to get away with this. There was only one person Osawa could trust to keep this under wraps. His boss, Makino. He reached for his phone to call Makino, but he stopped short as soon as he picked up the receiver. He knew he was in no state of mind to have a calm, reasoned conversation right now. Turning to the CD player, he put on Aya Kamiki's latest album. Leaning back in his chair, he surrendered himself to her soothing tones. Bit by bit, he could feel himself returning to a calmer emotional state. There had been a time when Osawa hadn't listened to music at all. In fact, he'd had no interest in the arts in general. Music, painting, cinema. It was only due to a simple coincidence that he had found Aya Kamiki. His daughter had asked for a CD as a birthday present, so he swung by the store to pick one up. Since Kamiki's new album had just come out, There was a display for it in the front of the shop. Something about the bright, colorful album packaging had drawn him in. After a time, Osawa could feel himself growing calmer. He took a nice, deep breath. Let's dial up Makino, I guess. Then he dialed up Makino. Has there been any progress? Makino asked as soon as he picked up. His voice was somber. No, Osawa said. Nothing much yet. A tiny sigh came in from the other end of the line. I see. And what can I do for you? I'm assuming that progress he was talking about was probably talking about maybe his daughter being kidnapped. Sir, I'll just get right to the point. Have you conducted clinical trials using the antiviral drug? Makino didn't respond right away. What makes you think that? He asked at last. Osawa described the emails he'd received. Usually when someone says, what makes you think that, it's almost like it's a more suspicious answer than just being like dumbfounded at the question. It makes it seem like they expected the question, but are confused on why you're asking it, but knew that it was something that could come up in some way. So I feel like he's hiding something there. When he'd finished, Makino let out his breath in surprise. Not over the phone, he said. We'll discuss this in person. I'll head over to your place when I'm done here. As soon as possible, sir. As soon as I can manage, Makino said. You're not the only person who's busy. With that, Makino hung up. There was no doubt about it then. There had been human testing. Osawa went to let Tanaka know he'd been meeting with Makino. Or he had a meeting. Yeah, Tanaka, that's the name that I forgot earlier. Mr. Osawa, are you going somewhere? A stolid-looking man stood in the hallway, almost as if he'd been waiting for Osawa to emerge. It was Yoshio Kajiwara, one of the detectives from the Shibuya Precinct. A detective with the Shibuya Precinct's Criminal Investigation Division. He's sociable but awkward, and despite his reserved personality, he can be quite unsettling. His colleagues at the precinct refer to him by nicknames such as Japanese Columbo and Little Ken Takakura, given his own quirky demeanor as a detective. He struck Osawa as a bit too soft-spoken and meek for a detective, really. And his treatment of the kidnapping case gave an impression of flighty detachment that made him seem rather undependable. No, not really. Have there been any developments, detective? Kajiwara shook his head quietly. I'm sorry, sir. I'm not really sure what to tell you. Kajiwara then slipped a hand into his suit pocket. He pulled out a banana, a highly nutritious fruit belonging to the family Muscae, genus Musa. Because they contain a variety of different carbohydrates, bananas can provide long-lasting energy and are an optimal energy source when exercising. The famous slipperiness of banana peels is due to the oils in the inner part of their skin, but even if all the oils were removed, slapstick comedians would still probably slip on them anyway. At first I thought he was like pulling that out instead of like a cell phone. And I was like really taken aback at just how absurd that tone shift was, but I think he's probably just taking out the banana to like hand it to him. To like say like, here, eat this or something. Are you hungry? These are good for when you're tired. I'm fine, thanks, Osawa said. Kajiwara seemed to lack a detective's sense of situational awareness. Situational awareness, that's the phrase that I was looking for last episode when I was describing Achi. Just being around him got on Osawa's nerves. Well, sir, I need you to come with me, the detective said, if you don't mind. He took Osawa by the arm. As Kajiwara hurried him over toward the living room, Osawa could hear other detectives talking on the other side of the door. It's working at a time like this, seriously. Sheesh, I do not get rich people and their priorities. Yeah, I feel bad for his daughter. Her dad's a real piece of work. He's working to take his mind off of it, probably. Like, nice. They were bad-mouthing him in his own house. Oh, I'm really sorry about all that, Kajiwara said, pausing in embarrassment. Osawa pushed past him and opened the door. A number of police detectives had holed up in the living room. They went suddenly silent as Osawa entered. So, tell me, he said sarcastically, would you rather I stay here weeping as I watch this disaster unfold? The detectives winced and grimaced. Forgive me for not being a perfect father, he added, his hostility building. Kajiwara stepped forward to intervene before things got out of hand. Now, let's not be touchy. I'm not being touchy, Osawa snapped. But he knew full well that he was. These guys had the time to sit around backbiting him, not to go out and bring Maria to safety. Already close to half a day had gone by without any new developments. The ransom demand had come in the previous night at 8 o'clock. Maria had been abducted roughly an hour before. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., by Hachiko in Shibuya. Have the sister Hitomi bring 50 million yen. If not, the girl's life is forfeit. Okay, so he's the one who was contacted about this. And naturally, he wouldn't just let her go alone. He contacted the police beforehand. The kidnapper called only once, so the police were unable to run a trace. I'll do it, Hitomi said. Anything for my sister. She didn't hesitate in the slightest at the suggestion that she make the ransom handoff. Osawa was staunchly opposed to the idea, but the police were of the opinion that it was better to acquiesce to the kidnapper's demands. Ai's reaction, on the other hand, baffled nearly everyone. Oh god. We don't have 50 million yen just lying around. Are the police going to be putting that together for us? Kajiwara stepped in to reassure her. If it comes down to it, the police will be able to help raise the money. Okay, go ahead then. Do it. We'd need you to pay it back afterwards, though, of course. Well, then what's the point of that? Ai's voice spiked up to a piercing shriek. Calm down, Osawa told her. You're making a scene. I turned away in a huff. It's all right, Detective, Osawa continued. I'll talk to the bank first thing tomorrow morning and figure something out. At that, Ai stormed out of the room. Kajiwara bowed his head several times in apology. So they're actually just recommending that he get the money and hand it over. Like, that's kind of weird. I would expect them to maybe hand over a decoy or something. As soon as Hitomi has made contact, we'll apprehend the suspect and take things from there. What? Hold on, won't that put Maria in danger? If we let the kidnapper get away with the money, we have no proof that he will return the hostage safely afterwards. So I don't know why they're even giving them real money. There was a certain logic there. Osawa had to concede. I see, he said. So you're saying that catching this guy will be easier for you if he keeps my daughter hostage? No, that's not what I was implying at all. Kajiwara wiped the sweat off his brow and bowed profusely. Please, I promise we'll get your daughter back safe and sound, Mr. Osawa. Obviously, there was nothing to be gained from further challenging the detectives. Alright then, I'll let the police do their job. Osawa bowed even lower than Kajiwara had. How long are you going to just loaf around? Ai shrieked as she stormed into the room. Hurry up and arrest this guy. She was becoming increasingly hysterical. An hour had passed since the suspect had taken the money, yet the police had made no effort to apprehend him. The police apparently had a rule against discussing an operation before it was fully resolved, so the Osawas had been left in the dark. But they had overheard the task force talking over the wireless, and it had appeared that they were deliberately letting the suspect roam free. Hey, I snapped again. If he gets away with our money, then Are you going to reimburse? You are going to reimburse us, right? Osawa scowled. She made it sound like the money was more important than Maria's life. The detectives exchanged uneasy glances. I think we should just say nothing for now. But honestly, she is, like, actually the worst. So, we'll just say nothing. Osawa said nothing. By now, he was accustomed to Ai's coldness toward the two girls. The twins were Osawa's daughters from his first wife, who'd passed away 15 years ago. Ai had no blood ties to Maria or Hitomi herself. Well, I continued, are the police going to reimburse us or not? She glared pointedly at Kajiwara. Well, right now we're focused on making sure Maria's safe. I stormed up to him, shouting right in his face. Stop dodging the question. Answer me. Yes, of course, Kajiwara squeaked. Maybe, would you like something to eat to help you calm down? He held out a banana. I smacked it out of his hand. Oh dear, what a waste. Kajiwara scrambled to retrieve the fruit from the floor. It's still on the peel, it's fine, although it might have been bruised a bit, which could make it kind of bad. Osawa went over to Tanaka and whispered into his ear. I'm going to meet with Mr. Makino. Tanaka nodded silently. Turning, Osawa saw Kajiwara looking in their direction. They made eye contact, but Osawa quickly looked away and strode out of the living room. Kajiwara followed after him. Excuse me, Mr. Osawa. Yes, what is it? The detective fussed sheepishly with his hair and forced a smile. Sir, we'd appreciate if you could remain in the living room as much as possible. Osawa was in no mood to stand on propriety. Look, I've got a ton of work to do, he said. Are you here to tell me to play the role of the grieving father, too? No, not at all. Personally, I happen to think you're an admirable father, Mr. Osawa. Admirable. Did the word have a ring of sarcasm? He had no way to tell if Kajiwara was being forthright with him or not. You're no ordinary fellow, Mr. Osawa. You're a genius. A genius. Me. Osawa made a skeptical noise. Am I mistaken, sir? You've made very important strides in the field of virus research. Or, well, so I've been told. Osawa wasn't sure how to respond. He had never considered himself a genius. He was just someone who was more interested in viruses than he was in other people. Everyone who's a genius is also a little bit odd, after all, Kajiwara went on. Probably he'd intended that as a compliment, but still. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with weirdos, so long as they leave us ordinary folks alone, you know? This guy trying to praise me or insult me? Osawa let out a heavy sigh. Genius, weirdo, what did it even matter? So long as he could be left to his work, he didn't care one whit how he looked at other people's eyes. Kajiwara wiped the sweat off his forehead with a handkerchief. By the way, what are you working on right now? He asked. I'm afraid you wouldn't understand even if I explained it to you, Osawa replied. Right, precisely. Even if I gave it my full attention, it would still be beyond me. He peered with sudden intensity at Osawa's face. I'd appreciate if you didn't hide things from me, sir, he said. Osawa gaped, at a loss for words. Oh, I'm so sorry, Kajiwara added hurriedly. Goodness, that made it sound like I'm accusing you of hiding something, didn't it? The detective bowed his head repeatedly. I hope you'll forgive me. He held out the banana. That won't be necessary. How about this, then? This time he pulled a bar of chocolate from his pocket. No, thank you. Does this guy just carry an endless food supply wherever you went? Oh my, Kajiwara murmured. You geniuses really are tough to sort out. He inclined his head, mumbling to himself for a moment. What can I get for you then, sir? What I'd really like is some time by myself. In a daze of exasperation, Osawa felt his way to his study. Locking the door, he finally let out the breath he'd been holding, then his eyes alighted on the bookshelf against the wall. He pulled out a photo album and began to flip through it. There were pictures of his daughter's grade school enrollment ceremony. Their mother had already passed away from illness, so Osawa had taken the girls himself. Yeah, of course that they weren't raised by Ai, because she seems like just a terrible person, and like there's none of her reflected at all in those, at least in Hitomi. We don't know anything about Maria, but he remembered that after the ceremony, Hitomi had come down with a fever. Right now, I'm still like keeping it as a possibility at the back of my mind that potentially Maria could be Tama somehow. I don't know how that would work, but it's possible if she has like amnesia or something. I don't know. Hitomi had been rather sickly as a girl, falling bedridden at the drop of a hat. Maria, by contrast, had been lively and energetic, quite the handful. Osawa had found it remarkable that their personalities could be so different despite them being twins. He flipped further into the album. There was a picture of the three of them in their grade school graduation. Maria was looking away from the camera. Osawa felt like someone had stabbed a dagger in his heart. His daughters, or virology? Which truly concerned him more? Which did he truly love? It was ridiculous to try to compare the two. He had known the answer before he even asked himself. Even so, human emotions were complicated and sometimes made people act inconsistently. One of the consequences of that was this photo album. This was the last photo he had of Maria. He searched and searched through the rest of the album, but she was nowhere else to be found. So now he had to be continued as well. Well then. Okay, so we're actually going to get noon to 3 o'clock, I think, is what it said. So now we should be able to... We've hit 12 o'clock with all of them, so we should be able to continue with anyone we want next time. So, I don't know who we're going to do, but we will take care of that next time. So until then, take care, and I will see you then. Also, not noon to 3 o'clock, it was noon to 1. 13. Yeah. So anyway, see you next time.